Hello, I'm going to be talking today about my experience of myself at school and my experience of myself being someone who has developed social anxiety. So, you go to school and an interesting thing that I notice is that like when I leave my house, my cave, as my mom has taken to calling it, ah, when I go outside, there's kind of like a fear because I'm quite comfortable being isolated. And yeah, so kind of like just being outside and in public and you have to like dress up and you're out there. Um, and I saw a documentary on Japan the other day and I thought I might very well like to be in an environment like that where I'm just constantly surrounded by shitloads of people, because then I would have to develop a comfortability being in public. But an interesting thing is that Japanese society is, from my understanding, also develops, people like me who are very uncomfortable socializing. So that kind of contradicts the. Not to say, though, that I couldn't benefit from, pushing myself out of my comfort zone and going out into public and everything. Going to public places and stuff. And then, okay. At school, I, you know, I wanted to, like, push myself to interact with people because I kind of do that thing I just, surmise that happens in Japan or in Japan, where, like, I'll be at school, but I kind of just, like, shut myself off from other people and just, and there was this one guy in my class who's like quite a friendly guy, and after class I pulled him off to the side and I said, "Hey, um, what happened last class?" And he told me, and I was like super, and he's like standing right there in front of you and like looking at you, and I noticed that I got quite jumpy, and I couldn't kind of like stand still and just kind of look at him because I was, I guess, worried that he was gonna think that I was creepy if I was just like staring at him. And a gesture that I've started using is going like this, kind of like laughing and going like this. Um, the kind of It's like an intentional way that I'm trying to communicate that I'm uncomfortable, so that people aren't freaked out by me. um, so that they kind of like see like, oh, okay, this guy's just shy or whatever, and aren't creeped out. Because when you have social anxiety, it really does creep people out. I mean, even myself, knowing what it's like to have that when I meet someone who's like just like so, like, uh, where it's like you'd think someone had just come out of the trenches in World War I. The way that you know I must look when I have social anxiety, just you know, it creeps people out. It really does. So that's just my sharing my experience. I suppose I should talk about what I'm gonna do about it. Um, I wanted to sign up for like a student activity, like an organized club or something, where I could go and like, participate with other people my age and who, I mean, if young people are like signing up for school activities in college and they're like voluntarily doing it, then they're probably going to be kind of like, you know, more people who I can relate to. And the social environment won't be as competitive. Or that was how I saw it. And so I signed up for a thing with the school, and it turns out that I'm the only student. Everyone there is like an adult. It's like an administrative program thing, and it only takes place once every 2 weeks, which is kind of like not as frequent as I'd like to. I'd like to kind of go out at least and be in a public setting and have to interact with people at least like once a week. So that But what I can do is just when I'm on the bus, um, or when I'm out, because I have to take the bus to school, I can just kind of go and interact with people in that way, kind of like learning how you have a casual interaction. And it is like a learning process, or I guess having to re-teach myself because I've forgotten or something how to just kind of like do the things that you have to do to have a normal interaction with other people. Um, yeah, and referencing again my experience with that young man who I'd pulled off after class that I could get some information that I needed and socialize. After he kind of was, like nice, but didn't really want to be around me, and so kind of left. Um, and I felt inferior because, like, shit, I fucked that up. But that's kind of what I have to do, and so it's gonna happen. That's some awkward shit is probably gonna happen at least a couple of times, and it's really not that hard. Like what I have to do to get myself out of my experience of social anxiety isn't really that hard. I mean, I'm sure there's people who, or I guess I've kind of been that person before, where it's like really bad. Eight minutes. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's one more thing I wanted to say, which is just that when I first started kind of like approaching my social anxiety, the way that I did this was to try and like be a totally extroverted person. And like so like in the classroom environment, I would like put my like I would like I don't really know how to explain it. I would like feel obliged to, you know, consistently like kind of throw myself in center spotlight. And I guess that could work, but what happened for me was that it was kind of I bit off like more than I could chew, and I just kind of like well, yeah. So it's not. I would just say it's not really necessary for me or for someone in my situation to, you know, take on big shit to start. Um, or I've kind of done that, and I'm gonna try again and um, start with more, little things like I've mentioned. Okay, so that's it for this vlog on social anxiety. Thanks for watching. Bye.